meditation, number one, means to become familiar with, but transformation and change means, as I said, to be greater than your environment. And what is your environment made of? Objects, things, people, places. To be greater than your body, the habituations and emotional conditioning, and to be greater than time. So meditation then is a great way to close your eyes and disconnect from your outer world. And whether you play music or wear earphones, disconnect from your known outer environment by not hearing distractions and sounds, and to sit your body down, and so that it's not eating and tasting and smelling and experiencing and feeling, and not think about what's going to happen on your schedule in the future, and not keep remembering what happened to you in the past. Keep working for the sweet spot of the generous present moment. By doing this and practicing disconnecting from your body, your environment, and time, people can begin to focus on their inner world. And when they do that properly, we now know that as you begin to reduce the stimulation, your brain waves begin to slow down. And the purpose of meditation is to get beyond the analytical mind. And what separates the conscious mind from the subconscious mind is that analytical mind. And learning how to slow your brain waves down into slower frequencies begins to open the door between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And now you can rewrite a new program. Now you can rehearse a new track. Now you can record a new future. And you begin to program your subconscious to become more naturally who you want to be. Students, when they do this properly, when they shut down most of the function in their thinking neocortex, they're disconnecting from the identity, the memory bank of the known self, the knowledge and experience that's the autobiographical you and thinking neocortex. Lights go out there. And when we see lights going out in this part of the brain in theta, and the brain moves outside of normal theta, something really amazing happens. We could actually predict that there's going to be a very large arousal in the nervous system. And arousals are usually created by the outer environment, by some stimulation, whether it's fear, whether it's pain and suffering, anxiety, that there's something that's stimulating us in the outer environment. The aggression is causing us to become aroused, but this arousal is like bliss. And we see the brain go into these very, very high, extremely high gamma brainwave patterns, 200 to 300 to 400 times outside of normal. And the person is having an elegant moment. They're connecting to energy and their autonomic nervous system, that part of the brain that's automatically controlling all the systems and coordinating all the systems and cells and tissues in your body, is getting a very organized, coherent frequency, a very fast frequency, and it's sending very fast impulses to the cells, and cells get a biological upgrade. And we see people in one instant have a moment and have a transformation in their biology. They get an upgrade. So when you're in theta, you're suggestible to information. And normally when you're looking in the television and it's late night and you're getting tired and the late night fright commercials come on and you're not thinking and analyzing, and you're programming information into you that you need something in your outer world to change your inner world. You're limited. You can't do it yourself. But when we dial down the thinking neocortex and you learn how to activate a latent system in your brain, there's a very, very high amount of energy in the area right around the pineal gland in the brain. And the pineal gland is like the brain's radio receiver. And now the person is connecting to information, but that information isn't coming from their senses. That information is actually coming from frequency, because frequency carries information. And the pineal gland acts as a transducer. It begins to take that frequency just like a TV antenna and turn it into profound visual imagery. And the person has a very profound inner event, a transcendental moment that seems more real than anything they've ever experienced in their life. They're having full-on sensory experience without their senses. The third eye, whatever, an inner vision begins to awaken them to who they really are. And that energy is an arousal, and it causes them to become more conscious. When you see that kind of arousal, the person having that inner event, there is an upgrade. You ask them about that subjective experience, and they'll tell you a very important message. The message is something outside of what they've ever experienced before. And so when we look at a brain scan, many times we'll start seeing specific things starting to happen, and we can say, she's going to pop. She's going to go. We can actually know, like, oh, that's just like the last one that happened. And then all of a sudden we're like, you see the person, it's hilarious. It's filled with light. They're filled with energy, and they don't want the moment to end. They want to stay in it. And so we can predict it many times. And when we did our last measurements, we had 10 people at a time having their brain scanned during our week-long event. And on the average, about 2 to 3 people were having very similar brain patterns just like that. And the area in the brain called Brodmann's area 30 is the area responsible for very profound long-term memories that are created from the emotions of ecstasy, bliss, connection, love, joy, freedom. They're having a positive trauma to their nervous system that's changing them. So if 2 or 3 people out of 1,000 or 1,100 people are having that experience, if we extrapolate out to the entire audience, that means that 200 or 300 people in the audience are having similar experiences as the scope of just 10 people that we were studying. We have a meditation called the Pineal Gland Meditation, and it's the exact process of activating the latent system, supernatural, and we're getting really good at it now. I mean, the Pineal Gland Meditation, I would recommend before anybody does the Pineal Gland Meditation to really study all the components of why it's so important to activate it, so they can again assign meaning to it. So read Becoming Supernatural if you want to. There's 2 chapters in there that are really important, that one's to prepare you for the pineal gland, talking about what the dimensional experience looks like and what dimensions are quantumly, and then what takes frequency and energy and connects it to our biology, electromagnetism to our biology, and it's the pineal gland. So I go through the research and the understanding of tiny crystals in the pineal gland that act as superconductors of energy.